Did you know there's a new Hotel Transylvania movie? I feel like most people don't. I guess they're too busy watching Spiderman No Way Home for like the 5th time to care, but there is a new Hotel Transylvania movie. It's right there. It exists. And you know what? I thought I should watch it and make a review of it because, as we know, the best way to grow a YouTube channel is to make videos about things no one cares about. But after watching this movie and then learning about some of the behind the scenes and production of it, I've realized something. And that is that this movie is a big scam. But not in the way that you're thinking. Because this movie actually may be the best one of the whole franchise. But it's also a scam. So you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about Hotel Transylvania. But let's go ahead and talk about Hotel
Transylvania, Transformania.
Boy, that was fun!
So first off, let's talk about this film's cast. And by that, I mean it lost every single one of the original cast members. Basically, every single one completely abandoned this film. They lost Adam Sandler and Paul Blart, okay? And to be honest, that's not really a good sign for your movie when none of the actors want to come back. So yeah, this movie is already feeling like a scam, like a straight to Redbox original. But now let's talk about the real scam part of this film. And that is that this movie actually scammed itself. This movie was supposed to release in theaters, but apparently there's like some disease going around right now. It's like the Omni something. I think it's the Omnitrix. It's something to do with Ben 10, I don't know. So apparently movies just aren't doing that hot right now. Unless, of course, you're Tom Holland in a red onesie, playing a spider dude, going like psst. And this film cost about $75 million to make, and I think it looks pretty darn good with that budget. And that's also pretty even with the rest of the budgets for the franchise. But then, in my opinion, Sony made a big dummy decision. And I like that when I hit my desk, all of the pop figures, like their heads were like, they sold this film to Amazon Prime for $100 million. They gave this film to Jeff Bezos. What? Did he want this film for his collection? It's here. It's here. Oh, finally it's here. For my collection. Guys, guess what? That was actually me the whole time. Also, my mic isn't working, so I'm just gonna set that right there. Oh, doesn't that look nice? Now, at first glance, you may be thinking, oh wait, from this deal, they made $25 million. Hey, that's a pretty good deal. But I would actually argue that this is a terrible deal for Sony. And I can actually prove it because I know math. That's why I'm wearing glasses. Oh, wait, no, hold on. I actually need another prop. But I would argue that is a terrible deal for Sony, okay? And I can prove it because I know math, as you can tell by the fact that I'm wearing glasses. I am also currently failing geometry though, but that's beside the point. Oh, get it? Like point? Like point? Like geometry? Like a shape with a point? Oh, I did a funny! The good news is, though, that all of y'all watching will be able to follow my very complex math because all of you guys have seen Spider-Man No Way Home like 5 times, and if you've actually seen that film, you actually understand all of math from that one scene. That's actually, he literally explains all of math in that one scene, so this works out great.
You're great at geometry. You can do geometry. Square the radius. Divide by 5. Plot points along the curve. Hey, strange. You know what's cooler than magic? Math.
Okay, math time. So the way you judge a film's financial success is you take the movie's budget and then times it by 2 for all of the marketing and other things. So if it makes over twice its budget, and that's usually a pretty good sign. So the first film had a budget of $75 million, so let's times that by 2, $150 million, and it ended up grossing $358 million. And that is, that's called cash. That's pure cash. Hotel Transylvania 2, with about the same budget, ended up grossing $474 million. Even more cash. And Hotel Transylvania 3, with about the same budget, ended up making $528 million. That's even more cash. So get this. So the whole time you thought I was typing math stuff into the calculator. I wasn't actually typing math stuff. I was actually just writing boobs in the calculator. I got you guys so good. But this all means that the franchise is only going up in profits. And yet they sold this fourth one to Amazon. And maybe, look, maybe they were thinking, oh, this is the fourth one in the franchise. No one cares about it anymore. The morale for new movies has kind of died out. But even if this film only made the modest amount of the first one with $375 million, that would still make them way more money than if they sold it to Amazon for only $100 million. And I think the only reason that no one cares about this film, it's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know, because Amazon has done a horrible job marketing this film. I am a person who keeps up with movie stuff very well, and even I didn't know this movie was out until a few days after it released. This is all Amazon's fault, okay? This is all Jeff Bezos' fault. This is your fault, okay? Jeff Bezos is personified by this bald cap now. I really just don't understand it all. I think Sony completely scammed themselves with this deal and threw away potential money. And the worst thing is that this movie, I think, is my favorite one of the franchise. It's at least a big step up from the third one, which I thought was very dumb.
There's something about an accent that makes a man sound so intelligent.
So why did they sell this one if it was actually good? And why did they sell this one for so little? Maybe Jeff was like, give me the movie and I'll give the entire crew free Amazon Prime. And they were like, deal. Sony, you scammed yourselves out of a bunch of money, I'm telling you. But there we go, that was my whole math rant thing.
The only place to experience Transformania is in a movie theater, October 1st.
Focus and talk about this surprisingly good film. So first off, I want to say some of the original cast members that did come back were Andy Samberg and Selena Gomez, and thank goodness they did, because they are terrific in this film. And I just really bought into their cute, young, loving relationship, and it was good at giving this film heart. So the actual plot of this film, though, is that we learn that Count blah 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 wants to retire, which I thought was a new fun idea, but through one of his lies, Johnny ends up becoming a monster, and this leads to a bunch of wacky shenanigans and good family fun. Oh, and also, Dracula gets turned into a human, and that's funny because his human form looks exactly like R.L. Stine, the writer of the Goosebumps books. And maybe I'm crazy for saying this, but I think it might have been intentional, because I feel like there was a few homages to Goosebumps. At one point in the film, there's like this bunny thing, and he grows and he gets all cramped in this cage, and it reminded me a lot of this Goosebumps cover where this hamster, I only know that because it says one hungry hamster. I actually thought it was a very ugly cat at first, but no. But as we see, this hamster is way too big for his cage, and he's a big chunky boy, and he's growing. And so the bunny being in the cage kind of reminded me of this. And also, now that I think about it, it also kind of reminded me of that big cube meat thing in Phineas and Ferb, the Second Dimension. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? But the way that they get turned into humans is by drinking this green liquid that reminded me a lot of R.L. Stine's Monster Blood, which is also the thing that made the ugly cat, the hamster thing, turn into a big chunky boy. What am I saying? And so maybe, I'm thinking maybe that was intentional. But now that I say it out loud, I feel kind of stupid. Also, Johnny ends up getting turned into a monster by Van Helsing, the villain from the third one. And hey, just a word of advice, if your life goal is to kill every single monster, maybe it's not very smart to build turn a human into a monsterinator! Because that kind of defeats, because if you're turning humans into monsters, then doesn't that just make your life harder? I don't know, it just seems counterintuitive, okay? Now, when they go on their big Indiana Jones adventure, at first I was like, no, they're repeating the problem with 3, and that was that we leave the very interesting hotel and go on a boring cruise. But I think in this film, we spend enough time at the hotel that it didn't bother me, and the adventure was more entertaining than a very lame cruise. The only thing, though, that I liked less about this film is that in this one, we didn't have those great gilf scenes, as the cool kids say.
Or just enjoy the view.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
I also want to say that I love the cast chemistry in this film, which is funny because it's a completely different cast. They're all gone. But I just think the script helps give them a bunch of funny moments with their friends and with their wives, and I love seeing their interactions and dynamics. And it's weird how funny this movie is, because this movie doesn't even have Paul Blart anymore. And if he's not in it, how can comedy even exist? But I love the dynamic of how they act and look as humans, and the new dynamics that it brings, like Dracula being able to go into the sun, and the way that they pay this off by all of them having to come together to protect Mavis from the sunlight so she can do her cool, laser crystal pew-pew-pew thing. Was awesome. It was just genuinely some really cool imagery pulled off by the animation. I don't understand why they sold this film. It's good. Also, there's this scene where Blobby is just bouncing around this cave, and it straight up looked like something right out of Geometry Dash, and that made me laugh. And speaking of laughs, this movie is very funny. Throughout the film, I found myself smiling and going, ha ha ha, several times, and that's good because this movie's a comedy. It's a good thing that I was laughing, because I wasn't laughing in the third one when they were like, cute toot, honey. That scene still gives me PTSD. That's not funny. That's not funny.
That's cute too, honey.
I also loved how we got to watch Mavis and Ericka bond, and we got to see how this new mother would interact with her new daughter, and exploring that a little bit was really nice to see, and it made me feel like the third one was slightly less of a waste of time. Even though it was. It definitely was. Except, of course, for those gilf scenes. They were good. And also in this movie, we see more of Johnny and Dracula bonding, which is just always something fun to see. And I also loved the payoff about how they see the world and this marshmallow simile that was surprisingly heartfelt, and the way it paid off at the end was just so sweet. Much like the inside of a marshmallow, even if the outside is burned. If you've seen the movie, that's actually a reference to it. But seriously, the final act of this movie was just so much fun, and it genuinely felt earned. And then, right at the end of this film, they come home and find Hotel Transylvania destroyed. And it is genuinely like this sad moment, and I was literally clapping, okay? I was, well like, not like, because I was like, okay, it wasn't because I was like happy that they're homeless. I wasn't like, yes, they're homeless. Oh, this is so cool. I was more clapping at the fact that I was just like, wow, they actually had the guts to pull this like kind of emotional, destructive ending out of nowhere. And I was just proud of them for taking that risk. And then the way they leave it by Dracula finally handing over the keys to Mavis and Johnny to rebuild it how they wanted was touching. And I was just like in shock that they did not take the easy way out, even for the ending. And I just genuinely loved this ending. And then they keep on going for a minute, and then they rebuild it all in 1 year somehow, and then it's all rainbow colors, and it's super awkward, and I really hated that ending. But I'm just gonna pretend that the movie ended right when Dracula gave them the key, and then that was when we cut to black, and then we completely skip over the flash forward 1 year later to the Rainbow Hotel Transylvania. Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend the movie ended 1 minute earlier, and it's a much better ending that way. But after watching this film, I can't believe how good it is. I've always, liked these movies. Except for 3. But this one was so good, and it really brought back life in this franchise, which is funny. Cause they're on dead. But Sony, I just want to say, I think you made a dumb decision selling this movie for only $100 million because it's actually really good. And I do recommend watching this film, especially if you're a fan of the others in the franchise. Anyways though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. That's very sweet of you. If you really did enjoy this videos, I make comedic videos about movies, TV shows, and other things. And if you enjoyed that, please, you can go back through my channel catalog. There's probably another video up here if you want to watch that. But yeah, if you enjoyed and you want to subscribe and watch more, no pressure, you can do that. No pressure, once again, as the cool kids say. But I'm sure I will see all of y'all soon, and make sure you subscribe to support the vision.